From the city of the Maccabees, Modi'in, I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief, brought to you every Monday to Thursday in partnership with these guys. Now, if you're new to the Israel Brief, you are joining the most amazing international community. I just want to give a shout out to viewers in Northern Ireland, McKinley, California, Central Oregon, joining wishes from Australia, South Africa, London, Berlin, and Saudi Arabia, as well as many other places. So hey, pop a little line in the comment section and tell me where you are from. It is day 349. As I said, I think it was yesterday, we are fast approaching that first year anniversary of the 7th of October. Now on Monday, I will be in Kibbutz Be'eri in the south of Israel. If you recall, Kibbutz Be'eri was one of the worst affected on the 7th of October, with over 100 murdered and many taken hostage. I am going to try my absolute best to do my Israel Brief or do something from Kibbutz Be'eri to show you the reality on the ground. Please understand that it, of course, is a very sensitive time for the families that are there trying to rebuild their lives. And the kibbutz doesn't let very many people in to see the devastation. A lot of these communities have started to return, are trying to rebuild their absolutely decimated communities, and we want to be as respectful as possible. So I will try my absolute best. If the Israel Brief on Monday is not from Be'eri, please know that I tried and had to take into account the sensitivities of the people in the kibbutz. We are also awaiting 101 hostages, including 4 hostages that were taken before October the 7th, and we want them all home now. So let's take a look at the top stories. And if yesterday we were talking about exploding pages, today we are talking about exploding walkie-talkies. No sooner had the news and all that comes with it broke about the pages, and of course we've heard a lot from pundits around the world, many clutching their pearls saying that this is state-instituted terrorism and it was indiscriminate. This was as precise and discriminate as you get. Only members of Hezbollah were handed these pages, and as we now know, walkie-talkies. And if you've seen some of the footage circulating in the media, you will see the moment those pages explode, including one in a market, and only the Hezbollah terrorist is harmed. Not even a tomato was harmed. So this was as targeted and precise as it gets. Yes, there was a 9-year-old little girl who was killed when she was playing with her father's pager, and that of course is horrific and deeply regrettable. But whoever's behind it in Israel is not commenting on it, although all the trademarks lead to the Mossad. This was so targeted that military professionals are saying it's like a movie, but just like more than a movie, because nobody could think of this, and saying that this is the most precise counter-terror operation in military history. So what we do know from the explosions of the walkie-talkies is that the Lebanese Health Ministry just a short while ago said that 25 had been killed. This is according to the Lebanese Health Ministry, but we do believe that Hezbollah is not revealing the total amount of casualties. There are about 500 plus that are injured, and these explosions have taken place across Lebanon. The pages that exploded happened in Lebanon and in Syria. And the Daily Mail, that's the dailymail.co.uk, have an expose today on how they believe the operation went down, and they also have included an op-ed from a Lebanese journalist who says that the feeling in Lebanon right now is people are very scared to touch anything electronic because it might explode. And he said something very interesting. He said, whereas people who were not necessarily Hezbollah members, but were maybe loosely affiliated, that they were safe. The specific targeting of Hezbollah pages and communications devices has exposed to the whole world who is a member of Hezbollah. It's absolutely ingenious, because now we can see whoever's got groin injuries, hand injuries, these face injuries are likely to be affiliated or even Hezbollah members. Now, Hassan Nasrallah, he is the head of Hezbollah. He is scheduled to speak a little later today, and we are expecting some kind of reprisals. That's part of the audience question for today. The Lebanese Prime Minister has appealed to the United Nations to oppose what he calls Israel's technological warfare against his country. Now, just a reminder that Hezbollah is prescribed as a terror organization by many countries, including Arab countries as well. So for anyone who's saying that this was indiscriminate and people were hurt, is the targeting, the specific targeting of terrorists, is that state terrorism? As Israel's security cabinet mentioned earlier this week, one of our war goals is to ensure that our citizens from the north, and there's over 63,000 of them who have still been evacuated, are returned safely to their homes. And we've heard from Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, who has roundly condemned this, saying that civilian infrastructure and civilian apparatus shouldn't be used like this. Well, he had nothing to say when Hamas used garden implements like a garden hoe to behead an innocent Thai worker. So maybe you're going to sit this one out, Mr. Secretary General, because you have failed to implement UN Resolution 1701 that not only says that Hezbollah must not be armed, but that it needs to be north of the Litani River. So as you can imagine, we will be talking about this for quite a while to come. The Shin Bet announced earlier today that they had foiled an Iranian plot to assassinate Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Shin Bet head Ronen Bar, and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. Now, this follows yesterday's announcement that the intended attack, or the intended target of a Claymore bomb attack last year, was Moshe Boogie Ya'alon. He is the former IDF Chief of Staff. It is believed that another attack that was foiled yesterday also targeted Ya'alon. It is also believed that Iran were dialing up these plans following the assassination of Hamas head Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran just several months ago. They also explored the possibility of possibly assassinating former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, as well as other security and defense officials. Now, what the plot entailed is using an Israeli businessman in his 70s who has been named by the court as Moti Maman from Ashkelon. They say that he lived in Turkey for a while, and they were counting on him to develop this plot to assassinate the leaders from inside Israel. Absolutely terrifying. Kan, the Israeli state broadcaster, announced today that a one-of-a-kind deal had been put forward by Israeli officials for the release of the hostages. Now, we don't know too many details, but what we do know is the plan includes the following: all 101 hostages to be released, an end to the fighting in the Gaza Strip, safe passage for Sinwar and his associates, a demilitarized Gaza with a new government, and Palestinian prisoners to be released. Now, I have all kinds of thoughts on that, why they would, put this forward, and I'm going to watch the story and I will share with you my thoughts as this unfolds, and I want to see what Hamas's response is before I share my opinion. So hold fast, I will share it with you. I mean, hey guys, when have you ever known me not to share an opinion with you? So this has been presented to Arab leaders as well as to Washington, and of course has been met with very, very favorable responses. And it has been welcomed by the Hostage Forum, who have appealed to the government to accept this one-time deal. So Israel has put it out there. Let's see what Hamas come back with. And finally, giving his first interview to the British press since the 7th of October, Prime Minister Netanyahu sat down for an exclusive with the UK Daily Mail. In fact, if you guys just go to dailymail.co.uk, this morning certainly was absolutely dedicated to all things Israel, the pages, the Walkie Talkies, and this interview with the Prime Minister, which you can read in its entirety. And I'm going to go through the key points that the Prime Minister made. He said that the Labour government, led by Prime Minister Keir Starmer, is very, very misguided, and that it is sending mixed messages. On the one hand, it is saying that it supports Israel's absolute right to defend itself and that it's a friendly government, and on the other hand, it announced the suspension of those 30 out of 350 defense or military licenses, and did that on the evening where we had just buried Hirsch Goldberg Polin and Carmel Gut, the last two of the 6 hostages who were executed by Hamas when they were laid to rest. And I'm going to read you his quote. He says, "Most recently, the new UK government suspended 30 arms licenses to Israel days after Hamas executed 6 Israeli hostages, sending a horrible message to Hamas. These misguided decisions will not change Israel's determination to defeat Hamas, a genocidal terrorist organization that savagely murdered 1,200 people on October 7th, including 14 British citizens, and took 255 people hostage, include 5 Brits." He says, "Just as Britain's heroic stand against the Nazis is seen today as having been vital in defeating barbarism, so too will history judge Israel's stand against Hamas and Iran's axis of terror. Israel will win this war and secure our common future." And he also made the point of mentioning that the previous government, led by Rishi Sunak, had been resolute in its defense and its support of the state of Israel, and its filing that amicus with the International Criminal Court. Another point that the Prime Minister brought up, he said that the Labour Party retracting that amicus, he says, while the ICC seek arrest warrants against himself and Defence Minister Gallant, is absolutely preposterous. He said that, arresting the Israeli leaders, or leaders of a democratic country that are fighting terrorism, is seriously going to hamper any democracy's ability to fight terror in the future. And whether you like or loathe the Prime Minister, you cannot argue on that point. And he also shared his concern about what he sees as rising anti-Semitism in the streets and in the cities across the United Kingdom, urging the government to do something to combat it. So those are our top stories. I mean, guys, it has been a week, feels like a month. So I'm going to get to the audience question, and I actually quite like this. This comes from Stephen Spinellis, who said, does Hezbollah have the balls to counterattack? And Stephen, well, to quote the Australian, most of Hezbollah has been neutered. So asking whether they had the balls, I mean, you can read into that what you want. Nevertheless, in all seriousness, we are on high alert. We are preparing for any possible reprisal attack, either by what's left of Hezbollah or through other Iranian proxies. We've got the Houthis in the south. We can't forget that earlier this week they fired that hypersonic missile towards Israel, or they claimed it was hypersonic. Turns out it wasn't, and it actually disintegrated in the air just as it was being intercepted, and some of it landed just about 10 minutes away from where I live at the train station just outside Modi'in, and the rest landed we think to the east of Tel Aviv and to the city of Lod. But we are on high alert. There still have been rocket attacks coming over the border, and we have sent our elite 98th Division to the north. So as you can well imagine, we will be bringing you any updates when we return next week. But in the meantime, guys, check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our Facebook page is at Lottel's site. Our YouTube channel is right here at the Israel Brief. Let's grow our incredible community. Hit that red subscribe button. We are on Instagram at Rolene_Marks, on LinkedIn at Rolene Marks, and on Twitter at Lay of the Land 5. I wish you all a wonderful weekend, a well-deserved rest. Please, God, may it be quiet for all of us. God bless you. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Shabbat Shalom, and I'll see you again on Monday. Bye for now.